Good morning, my friends. Welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are going to spend a little bit of time up here at the gate, the entrance to the nursery, because tomorrow is opening day and we need to spruce up the entrance. We have been spending a lot of time, of course, at the nursery getting it all ready. It is looking fantastic. We have an amazing crew down there doing some last minute touch-ups, but you cannot forget about the first impression, right? I mean, you come through and you come down the gravel road and you start to see the nursery. Well, we want the entrance to look as good as it can here in middle of February. Mimi is going to be joining me here in a moment. So let me just kind of walk you through and let you know what we are going to do because it doesn't look bad. It just needs a little love. And so that is what we are going to give it this morning, is a little bit of love. The main area that we're going to focus on is this side of the entrance. Of course, you can see the gate, right? We've got the flower bed over there. Everything there is looking pretty good. We just have a couple little things that we need to do. But on this side, it's looking a little sad. As I told you earlier in the week, it is definitely time to trim your perennial grasses, and these most definitely need to be go ahead and cut back. So Mimi and I will work together using the method of wrapping it up and then taking the hedge trimmers and cutting them back. And then of course I've got my blower because we need to just clean up the leaves, and you can see where the grasses are starting to drop that old foliage and it's just looking a little messy in here. So I want that neat and tidy. Mimi is blessed, of course, with tons of big mature pine trees at her house, and for whatever reason it seemed that this year the trees had an abundance of pine needles that dropped. So she has a stockpile of some fresh pine needles. We're going to get those pine needles and then put it here on this bed. We could use mulch. That requires the boys to get with the machinery and all the things, and it's just easier to do the pine needles nice and neat and fresh, so we will do that. That's kind of like the lipstick on the flower bed. Then, did you notice that we have 2 new additions here at the gate? We only had one container here, and it was on this side of the gate, and it was the aquapot. That aquapot got moved to the house, and we have matching on each side of the gate the Esplanade urns with the large panel pedestal from Unique Stone. We had 4 of these on a delivery. There was a bit of a mix-up on the delivery, and Unique Stone sent us these 4, and we are going to use them here at the nursery. So we are going to leave these 2 guys here permanently. Today, I am just going to be planting them very simply. Again, it is the middle of February. I'm not putting annuals in here. I could put like pansies, violas. We just don't have any right now. I'm keeping it really, really simple. We are going to put 2 rhododendrons in the containers, 1 in each. And so I have got them sitting right here in the back of Johnny. They are 3 gallons. This is the English Rosum, which will be really beautiful. They have buds on them, so we will leave them planted. We're gonna really plant them. You can see I've got my Land and Sea and my Proven Winners potting soil. There's Biotone back there. So we're truly going to plant them in the urns, so that way they can stay there as long as we need them to, until we get to the summer planting of the flowers and the annuals and that kind of stuff. But they will bloom, they will be gorgeous. English Rosum is a really gorgeous, massive flower in that pink family. So really excited about that. Now, today, because this is a time crunch and you know we got to move with purpose, we are not going to put the irrigation in the urns today. We'll wait and do that when we do it for the summer planting. Plus, this time of year, they don't need them. Like, I'm not even going to turn the irrigation system on. So we will get them well watered in today. But because the temperatures are cooler, we get more consistent rain. I'm not going to have to be overly concerned about watering these. So when we come back in a couple of months and we plant the summer annuals, then we will hook it up to irrigation and put the drip in it and all that. Just simply don't have time for that today. So we're going to take care of those, get those guys planted, and then just a few other little things. I have got some Annabelle hydrangeas right here along the fence line. next to this urn, and we need to go ahead and trim those back. The Annabelles, of course, are smooth hydrangeas, bloom on new growth, so we need to get those pruned, get them clipped back a little bit. And then the poor sign, y'all, that's gonna drive me crazy. The sign is dirty. I don't know if you can see it, but it is just dirty, right? Because it's underneath the trees. So I have a bucket, I have my Mr. Clean Magic eraser and a rag. So we're gonna go to town and get that all cleaned up, get it nice and shiny and looking pretty again. But yeah, so my goal is to be kind of hit this fast and furious, get in, get out, because we have got plenty of work to do down at the nursery. All those little details that make such a difference when folks get here. That's what we're working on today for the big opening tomorrow. So while I am waiting on Mimi to come, I think I might just go ahead and start planting up these urns. And yeah, very simple, right? We're just gonna get it done. All right, my friends, so here I am standing on a stool because Jenny and her short little 5'2" self can't quite reach this. Now, whenever I do containers, I always preach to you how important it is to bottom 1/3 in compost, then your potting soil, biotone, plant, top layer of compost. Because we're gonna have to pull out all the soil here in like probably 2 months or less to replant, I'm just gonna save on my land and sea and not put it in the bottom. Now, historically, I always put it in there. When I do the summer annuals, I will definitely do that. Simply just because I know we're gonna be pulling this stuff out in 2 months, which I'll save that soil. I'm just not gonna put the land and sea in the bottom. The roots will not have time to go all the way down there. It's all gonna be fine. I've never planted an esplanade urn, so it's gonna be interesting to see how much soil this takes. Probably could put the whole bag of the soil in there, but this is a 3 gallon and I do not want to overfill this because would have to hand water it, and when you put too much soil in it, then the soil spills over, and I don't want to do that. So we're just going to kind of push that soil down, make it nice and compact, make a hole, right? Make a hole, and then I have to get off my stool to get the biotone and the plant. It's not what I would call root bound at all, but they are nice and developed. So I'm just gonna go in there and break it up just a little bit. We do this so that the roots will start to spread out and grow into the soil around it, okay? Promise you're not hurting the plant. All right, here we go. That way, we have to wiggle, 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 wiggle. There we go. All right. Of course, when you're planting your plants, whether it's a shrub or a perennial or an annual, you want to make sure that there is no air pockets in there. So I've got the soil all around the root ball, and then we're going to top dress with land and sea, right? It's great. So it helps retain moisture, it makes it look neat, and then it's a nice little source of food for the plant, a nice little slow release of it. Now, when it comes time for spring, summer planting, what we'll do is take these out and add them to the landscape somewhere, right? So nothing will be wasted, and we can add these to the landscape. Come back in, smooth it all out, not putting a ton of compost on top of the root ball. It's more all the way around it, pushing it in. Just remember, when you're doing containers, there's a season for everything, right? This is very simple. It's going to be stunning when these rhododendrons bloom, but it does not always have to be over the top. It does not always have to be, you know, just this really complex containers. Sometimes simple is good. Keep it simple, sweetie. Do not have to overthink, especially for this season. We are in winter, right? It is end of February, completely appropriate to have a nice, simple container. If you want to go more ornate and complex, go for it. Knock yourself out. That is the beautiful thing about gardening, right? We're in our own space. We get to do what we want to do in the garden. Now there is a tag on here, so I'm going to take that off because it's just the tag that has, you know, the plant name on there. So as simple as that, all I'm going to do, grab my watering can, get this watered in, boom, done. Then we'll move on to the next one. All right, my friends, so we got both of the urns are planted. Easy peasy, right? Keep it simple, sweetie. That is the name of the game for today. So they are planted, they are watered, I can walk away, they are done. Mimi got the sign cleaned, and as she said, it looks like a brand new sign. Little things, y'all. Little attention to detail makes a huge difference. So she got the sign washed and then got the Annabelles cut back. With the Annabelles, they're a smooth hydrangea, right? So they bloom on new growth. Of course, a classic, big, huge, pure white mop heads, stunning. The quote problem with Annabelles is that they tend to be very floppy. And so Mimi cut them back probably somewhere between that 10 to 12 inches tall. Here in this space, that does not bother me, right? If the floppiness bothers you, then go for Incredible. That is Proven Winner's version, improved version, and very much improved over the Annabelle. Still those nice big white mop heads, can be more sun tolerant a little bit, but not floppy. Here, it just brings a little bit of a different whimsy cottage garden. We're right here at the woods. They're along the fence. They're starting to spread a little bit. It's fine. It does not bother me. So got those cleaned up. What we're going to do now is then turn our attention to the grasses, because that is driving me crazy. We're going to work together and get it all cleaned up, blow out all the extra, go gather the pine needles and spread them out. I probably will, while I have the blower with me, go ahead and blow some leaves here, because we have some of the oak trees that just hold on to their leaves for a long time in the season, so they just kind of like continually drop, and they're clustered up around the base of some of these plants. And so I need to get that cleaned out, get it fresh, and get it neat and tidy looking. But first we're going to do the grasses and get those trimmed. So let me show you how we're going to do that. Let me get underneath here. Okay. All right, y'all, what we did is, like Mimi said, it's so much easier when you got two people. We just took, this is that braided twine. I mean, you can use anything. You can use a bungee cord, you can use ribbon. It really does not matter what you're using. But it just makes the cleanup so much easier when you're pruning your perennial grasses. You just take it and you pull it up like a big giant ponytail, right? I've got my hedge trimmers and I'm just gonna cut it off at the bottom. And it's gonna make a huge difference. Let me show you.
Look at there.
Look at there, ta-da! So, just like that, your perennial grasses are pruned. Now, the reason that you want to prune your perennial grasses is because all of your new growth is going to come back from the root ball, right? So all of that grass, that brown grass, was not going to turn green. We want to get rid of that brown dead foliage so that the new growth can pop up. And I actually see a little bit of it in here. Ideally, maybe I should have done this a month ago, you know, whatever. Grace and gardening, my friends. So we're going to get this kind of cleaned up a little bit. Somebody was asking the other day when I did the ones on the berm, and they said that their grass was starting to die in the middle, and what do you need to do? That is the sure sign you need to go ahead and divide your grass. So you're going to want to dig it up like a hosta, like if you've divided hostas, where you dig them up, you cut them probably in half at least. You could even do it into fourths. As long as you have a lot of your roots, then you have a brand new grass. But if you have a nice perennial grass, the inside starts dying out, it just means it needs to be divided. So what we're gonna do is we've got 2 more to do, then we're gonna get all these leaves, debris up, go grab the pine needles from Mimi's house, lay them down, and then today's project up here will be complete, and we get to move on down to the garden center and help our folks down there. My friends, today's project is complete. It feels fantastic to get this done. Of course, could not do it without Mimi and all of her help. But man, yes. So just coming up here, we've been up here for an hour and gotten this done, knocked it out. The urns are planted. These English rosum rhododendrons are going to be gorgeous when they bloom. Both of them right here on the fence, stunning. We'll take them out come warmer temperatures when it's time to put in the summer annuals, put in the irrigation then, but they are great. They're nice and well watered. They will be good to go. And then of course getting the perennial grasses pruned back, getting them cleaned up. I already see some new green growth in there. And then we went and got Mimi's pine needles. I actually really like the fact that they're not pure clean pine needles, that they've got some leaves in there and some pine cones, because it blends really, really well with the woods behind us. Of course, we blew those leaves out, so there's leaves there. It looks very natural. It will not be long before those grasses really start to pop out and have some nice, pretty green growth on them. And then we just cleaned up a little bit of the leaves over there on the other side where the sign is, because they were really, really thick in certain areas around the base of some of those plants, and I needed to get them out and so that those plants can thrive and just be really happy. So quick work of this project today. It looks fantastic. Be a great way to welcome our guests as they come to the nursery both tomorrow and in the coming weeks. We're going to head down to the nursery and help all of our sweet people get those last minute details taken care of. As always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have an amazing day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.